Welcome back to Disc and Ball's Golf Channel's Round 1 coverage of the 40th Annual Victoria Open from Victoria, Texas. It is sponsored by Golden Crescent Disc Golf Club and Mint Discs with their Heart of Texas tour, and also powered by One Star Disc Golf. This is Back 9 Round 1 feature card coverage from Patriot Park. And on the front 9 we had a slew of scores just all over the place. Alan Rohan +2, Mason Ford starting at -3 on the back 9, Thomas Mathson +3, and Chandler Kramer +2. Hole number 10, 315 feet. It gives you a number of gaps to go through, but the limbs are obnoxious, to say the least. Keeps a lower ceiling. The path that the drone is taking is not very likely. Some people go over the top, but today it is a really, really solid headwind. Putting anything up into the trees is dubious at best. Or anything up into the air, I should say. Mason immediately putting something up into the air. That's a Phoenix on a big Annie. And not too bad there. Phoenix is stable enough to fight through. Chandler going to the low line with his Seguin. He's been throwing that all day. And it doesn't quite fight out, and he and Mason are hanging out. Alan taking a pretty common gap, but gets it a little high, and that's where all those branches come in. Thomas, I think this might be a Draco. Not 100% sure, but he yanks that thing. The catch cam didn't have a chance, and ends up landing in that little area, pretty wide open. Yep, 80 feet. Not too difficult there. Nothing in the way. Alan giving it a great floaty bid. Mason a little slow in the uptake. Yeah. As you can see, is outside the circle. Knew it out of the hand and didn't like it. Mason, however, it's amazing what 3 feet left or right can do. Doesn't have to straddle, pretty standard. Helps that he can stand at full height under that branch and be okay. Sorry, Mason. Just expecting a little lift, I think. He released it nose up. Thomas, way to get the par there. Oops. Chandler, very solid. Dead center. Alan should have a tap in here. Yep. And then there's Mason with the upside down. Just making sure nothing bad happens. Hole 11 is a tricky little 371-foot hole. It favors a little turnover line that just kind of drifts down that gap on the right, but the drone is flying the right-hand forehand line. Out to here, a skip, nice little flare skip, can get it to tuck in near the basket. It is, it's challenging though to get it down there, although it will be a bit of a tailwind today. Mason. Little turnover. Unfortunately, catches trees hard. Had a little audio issue here. Chandler throwing the Bowie. Nice little flex line. And that gets that skip I was mentioning. Nice little curl up. That is a really excellent result. Alan. Backhand. Actually a little turnover line that catches that gap perfectly. And he flexes on Chandler. We're getting CTP there. Heimberg Destroyer out of Thomas. I almost said Calvin because, man, that hair. The hair and the destroyer and the putting stroke. Decent bid. He and Mason were the exact same distance, 92 feet. Not an easy shot there from the knee. Well executed. So, yeah, we kind of zoomed in through some tree branches. I thought that was a trash bag in the basket, but it's actually a log behind that. You know, we get to keep the creeper cam for another putt. There we go. Just rapid fire. And a par from Thomas. Number 12, very straightforward. The tricky part of this one, it is an elevated basket and about 30 miles an hour of wind coming off of your right side. Anything that gets on the hyzer with the right-hand backhand is going to get eaten alive. So forehand is probably the most consistent play. Even the drone is getting kind of pushed around. I swear it's not me. This is a Walker out of Chandler.
Unless you do that.
And he curls it up nicely. Little headwind putt in the on the elevated basket, and this is what I'm talking about. That was a Cayman, very overstable mid-range, but as soon as it gets on hyzer, there's Alan's hat making a bid for freedom. Phoenix here out of Mason. And a little bit of lift. Look at that roll though. That normally won't roll, but because of the wind ripping across, it keeps the
funky air bounce.
exactly. It keeps the flight plate up just enough to get it to stay on that edge for rolling. Another Phoenix out of Thomas.
Go.
And it actually gets a little hoverboard action. It's going to be a challenging putt. Alan says, absolutely not. I'm just going to lay that up. Thomas. Looking like he's going to go for it potentially. He does. Very nice effort. Really hard to risk putting that chain high. You really want that to lift in and have to rely on the wind. Mason. There's that lift right into the chain support. I heard Chandler saying here, like, this is a spit out angle all day. This is like, please stop wind, please. Using all of that 30 seconds. Unfortunately for him, I don't think he's going to get... Oh, here's an opportunity. Go quick while it's minimized, and it stays. Hole 13, 243 feet. Huge right to left crosswind. So most people will forehand this hole, hoping to go the path of the drone where it cuts inside and gets to here. But with that right to left, anything that exposes the flight plate is going to want to hold and go toward that tree up on the hill. Walker here, it's a mid-range. Pretty good line. And that's what I was mentioning, the it's just held really straight, like much straighter than it should have. Personally, I prefer the Phoenix here. Something that's going to fight a little harder, cut a little lower. Although, similar result there from Mason.
60-footer.
Alan here, also going to forehand option. A little low. And across the hill. That's going to be a little bit of work there, though. Probably closer to the 60 foot that Mason expected with his.
That one looked
And
right.
that is a very well executed shot from Thomas. 37 feet. Chandler, done for me, thanks. Alan? No, he doesn't want it either. So check this out. That guy throwing from over on the telephone poles, that's an MPO card. That's a professional. And he is 400 feet right of where he probably aimed his tee shot on the next hole. I decided to leave that in just an example of Mason trying to lay it up, but the disc had other things and almost got to the cage. But yeah, because it's so ridiculous, that guy is a million feet right of where he wants to be. Thomas looking to bid. And just nose down, and it... I think the key there is getting the disc flat or expecting the lift and throwing it low and letting it either lift in or hit the cage. The low miss is the safe miss. Hole 14, 470 feet, 78 feet, and the pin is pushed back from where it's normally at. Typically it'll be just kind of past, maybe 30, 40 feet past the pylons. It's actually pushed back to this hill, bringing the water left OB into play, and maybe bringing that tree into play. The wind today is going to cause chaos with disc selection. Chandler, hoping the wind will go away. No such luck. I hate to laugh at his misery, but it was miserable for everyone. So Warbird gets on Annie.
No shot. No shot you can do that. Well, that's cool. I officially give up.
Say it, say it.
There's no way that is.
No. You got some land down there.
Just the water to be.
Mason ripping on that stiletto again.
Power line.
It is so reliable. And very nice. It's probably, I don't know, 60 feet? I think circle 2. Boss from Alan. And he doesn't like it.
Hammer down.
It does catch almost on the downslope. That could have skipped into the water. That flips up, but because it flipped up, it rode flat for a while. Actually, not a bad result there for Thomas. Chandler on the struggle bus. Finds a gap though, and that actually will leave him a par putt. Thomas ripping something at the basket. That was almost looked like a half bid. Good effort there. Should leave him a very gettable par. Alan, he always looks like he's gonna go for it and then lays up. Chandler, just a touch low. We were joking that those gunshots are the executions of those who three-putted today, and there were a lot of them. It's actually, I think, a fire department shooting range, or not fire department, shooting guns at fire departments. Probably local police department. Mason with the bar there. Lots of tap-ins. And we move on to hole 15. Personally, I like a forehand, right-hand forehand over this safe area. Pylons right, ROB. Sometimes with the backhand, the disc just doesn't work its way back. That's why I prefer the forehand. That gets it to about here. Even if you miss long with the forehand and go OB, it is very makeable from that OB line. Probably about 22 feet, 28 feet, something like that. Mason Phoenix. Great disc selection, and it curls up very nicely. Headwind putt though. Came in coming from Alan. Very overstable mid. And it just doesn't work its way back. That tailwind just kind of does a number on it. Thomas, big forehand. Touch short though. Chandler throwing the Bowie standstill. Standstill 300 feet. That's pretty wild. Alan playing because he never crossed back in, so he has to throw from probably about 40 feet off the tee pad, going over the OB again. And that's the risk with going over to the OB is if the wind does get it, you end up way left, especially since that was his third layup. And it's going to be a painful double there, unfortunately. Thomas gets the disc nose up and it lifts to the band. Chandler makes the birdie. Very nice putt into the wind. Mason looking to match him. Very nicely done. So, hole 16 is 399 feet. Today it's playing into a ripping headwind. Just unbelievable. There's nothing blocking it. The pond or the lake there is just completely exposed. Basket's on a hill. Probably no risk of going long, but some days you could. That's OB back there. If you get into the pond anyway. The telephone or the power lines sometimes cause an issue, and then the power line, what is it? Power poles, I guess, would be the better way to describe it. Mason with a stiletto. Sounds cool. Not the best for camera angle, but that's going to be a circle tube look. Chandler Kramer with this again. Sounds cool. Little flex. Oh, and he lands probably 6 or 7 feet from the basket there. That looked like it had a chance for 400, which insane. 400-foot forehand in this wind. I think that was Thomas's Anton Boss getting up by those power poles. Boss from Allen and fades out a little bit early. Mason from 64. Barely in circle 2. Good layup. Thomas, is he going to run it? I like his aggression. I think he was trying to run that. Chandler, a well-earned birdie there with that drive. That was outstanding. Probably shot of the round so far. Alright, I guess we don't get to see Allen's. Hole 17. 639-foot par 4. This is a downwind left to right. I was really excited to see people bomb it. Anything up on this ridge is great. Anything up by this telephone pole is stellar. The house can come into play if you land your disc right behind it. Blocks off your roots. And other than that, if you land up on that hill where I mentioned, very straight up shot and really makes it an easier birdie opportunity. It's all about the drive here, I think. Chandler with a warbird. And decent little flare, but that's position A, really. Mason going to the Heimberg Destroyer. Maybe a less stable one, but he rips on it. And the catch cam is at that pole that I mentioned. Mason is a solid 80 to 100 pass. Just crushed. Thomas, the one bad thing to do is end up short with that hill. That hill's about 5 or 6 feet high. And that was a Faro out of Allen. Kind of blocked off by that house, I think. Yeah, so it's about 5 feet high. It really makes for a challenging run up. That was beautifully executed by Thomas. Like, that shot is so hard to throw because you have to release the disc high and you're running up a hill. Your plant is all off timing wise. I can't express how well executed that was from 360 feet. Allen getting himself into a little bit of trouble with his forehand there. Chandler throwing another forehand. I don't think we've seen a backhand from him all day. Nice little flip up, and okay. 20 something feet maybe. Mason absolutely crushed his. 155 means it's a nice casual upshot, and look at that. Not missing that for birdie. Alan, probably, well, I was going to say he's had a habit of laying up today, and it has not changed. Thomas robbed there. Didn't look like there was anything wrong with that putt to me. Chandler for the bird. And that's a turkey there for Chandler. Birdie in the last 3 holes. Alan takes the par. Mason, easy birdie. That's the way you like him. And Thomas will finish with his par. Final hole, 220 feet, par 3. And you'll see a lot of hyzer lines outside here. You can get the skip up. It's the safest play with that left to right wind. OB pylons don't really come into play. And Chandler actually throwing a forehand. I told my catch cameraman, like, no one's probably going down the center line, and Chandler immediately proved me wrong. Nice, straight and safe. Touch short, but very makeable. Mason taking the hyzer line, it looks like. And that curls up very nicely. Thomas with the Phoenix. I like the Phoenix here because it will get more ground play than like a putter or mid. Typically, anyway. And Alan high with the Cayman. That was well executed. High nose down putt stays in for Thomas. Ooh, kind of questionable on the right side, but it stays in for Chandler. Very nice. What a way to finish. 4 birdies in a row. Alan gets it 2, and it looks like we're going to have, what, a diamond frame, I guess, calling for a Carter 4. Mason not going to miss this. Beautifully done. And that's it for round 1 coverage of the 40th annual Victoria Open. Presented by Mint Discs with the Heart of Texas Tour, One Star Disc Golf, and Golden Crescent Disc Golf Club. Stay tuned. There will be chase card coverage here on Disc and Balls Golf Channel for Saturday and Sunday, and feature card, or lead card, I should say, coverage will be on Trail Candy's channel on YouTube. Trail Candy for lead card coverage of Saturday and Sunday for the 40th annual Victoria Open. I look forward to seeing you there. As always, thank you for watching, and hopefully I see you on the course.